Hello, everyone. You have the Linda and Alex show today. It's been a minute.
I know. You haven't been here since October.
I know. It's been so long that a coffee shop named a drink after me. So
I think that's so cute. We had this great coffee shop in Topeka. And whenever she's in town, she goes there every morning and they've gotten to know her. And so they what's it called? Pink?
yeah, so shout out Circle Coffee. They are definitely one of the best coffee shops ever. And I've been to a lot, so it's a big statement, but they're great. And I go in and get this cappuccino with signature syrup that they make. And they called it the Pink Alex. So I was like,
I think
awesome.
that's really great.
I
wish I drank coffee. I'd try it.
I know. Well, you love Starbucks, not coffee.
No.
Well, whatever you're drinking this morning or this afternoon, thanks for joining. Again, my name's Alex, and this is Linda. And we actually have a special guest coming on here shortly with us today. So you're going to hear all about a customer's garment, the London shirt that she made recently. She's going to tell us all about it. And then we're going to talk about flannel fabrics.
That's right.
When I say flannel fabrics, what do you think of?
Oh, that's interesting. You didn't tell me you were going to ask me that.
No, I'm very good at
when I think
not
flannel,
preparing people.
I think warm, although that's not really true, probably, because it's just cotton usually. But I think a little bit of a warmth. But I think of shirts, linings, pajamas, robes. More wintry. I don't think we wear from the summer, at least not in Kansas. So cozy, friendly.
Yeah, I think the stereotype might be a great pair of flannel pajamas or something like that with a matching shirt. But we're gonna kind of take your.
Would you wear your pajama pants to Walmart?
Well, I was talking to Erin recently, and she was saying how everyone at high school, her son is in high school, walk into high school with pajama pants on. So I don't think that was what I was wearing in high school. I don't think that's what I would wear now. But
yeah, you see them a lot on the streets. So that's not exactly what we're talking about here today, but whatever.
Yeah, well, our hope is to elevate your sense of flannel fashion.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's really, really on trend at the moment. We're seeing a lot of high-end flannel style. So.
I forgot to mention, I wanted to give a shout out to So Kansas. So if anyone has ever been to a So Kansas event, you know how wonderful they are. But we do have our 2025 schedule out. You can join So Kansas in 2025 in June, August, and October. So these are 3-day events where you're with the whole sewing workshop team. And you get to basically do whatever you want. You can sew, you can try on all of our clothes from the vault and otherwise. You can shop for fabric, you can alter a pattern, you can bring existing sewing workshop patterns you've been working on and get additional help and consultation from that. So there's a lot of different, we don't structure this as a project-based event. It's really a come and sew and be and do whatever you'd like kind of event. So these are kind of our signature sewing workshop events. We do have 3 of them this year. So if you want to join, the link to pay your non-refundable deposit is going to be posted in the chat. And we still have spots available for each of these 3 events. I think there are 2 spots left for June, perhaps 5 for August and 5 for October. So we're not yet sold out. We actually extended a few spots because we have a bit more space in our studio to take a few more people. So we're extending these to more than 10 people. And if you want to join, if you've been thinking about it, we are available to have you sign up.
We have a nice new big classroom. It's the space that we've been in, but we expanded it. And so we're pretty excited about having everyone in one space instead of splitting them up into 2 spaces.
Yep.
Looking forward to that.
Well, should we show the garment or bring in our guest?
I think we bring in our guest.
Okay, let's bring in our
and
guest.
show the garment.
We'll bring in Elaine. Elaine is a a dear friend of ours. You've been to a lot of our events, Elaine. We've had you even on this live stream before. So let's all say hello to Elaine, and she's going to tell us about the garment that she made.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, we're going to pull your lovely London into the middle here so that we can see it a little bit. I can't see it, but
we'll switch the screen over a little bit.
Yeah.
But Elaine, just talk for a minute about what you made, and then we'll show.
Okay. I made a London shirt. The inspiration for it came from a journey in Santa Fe, and I was window shopping, and I saw a Pero garment at Santa Fe Dry Goods, and I was immediately just fascinated with the knots based on Nancy's classes that we've taken in Cleveland when we did the French knots and the embroidery there. And I thought, I can do that. So I was so excited to come home. I wanted to do something immediately. If you don't strike when the iron is hot, as they say, you lose the vision and the inspiration. So I went immediately, as quickly as I could, to find some flannel. And I went, the only pattern I could think of that would be suitable for what I had in mind quickly was the London, because I'd used it in a previous project. So that was the inspiration. And I, bought the fabric, and I had an idea in mind to mix flannel plaid sizes, but I was not successful in that. So I went back to the plaid and solid contrast.
It looks great, and here it is behind us here, and you know, just looking at it first glance, you did a great job matching these plaids.
I know.
Thanks.
And
Thank you.
Uneven, or is it?
I thought about that for a long time, and I couldn't figure it out, Linda. I just said, I'm going to try to make it look good.
Well, it's perfect, but I actually think it's a big, even plaid.
I think so.
But kind of takes you by surprise. But yeah, I mean, it can be more perfect. When you first look at it, you think it's pretty sophisticated, but on the other hand, it's very, very wearable every day.
It is. It is.
I don't know if people wear a lot of jeans. I wear jeans, but with jeans and casual pants. But I also think you could wear it with a pretty nice black skirt or brown skirt. Wear it open.
I agree.
So it's got a lot of going on here.
In fact, that's one of the reasons I chose the black and brown. I'm trying to work more brown into my wardrobe.
Yeah.
But I still have a lot of black. And so I needed something that I could work back and forth. Exactly. And I actually have a couple of beige sweaters, which work nicely underneath it as well.
Exactly. So
I have worn it with jeans, both denim, blue denim as well as black.
Exactly.
And of course, I've worn it with every pair of Chesneys I have, I think.
Well, here's what she's talking about in the contrast for the back of the sleeve and also the undercollar. Let's see if we can get that back. There it is.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Then, and did you put a seam in the back, did you say? Of the collar?
I did. I meant to. Yeah, I did. There's not a seam in the collar, but there is a seam in the back of the jacket. That was accidental. That was not really worth it. But the collar, I actually traced out the collar because you cut the top and the under collar as one piece, and then you cut it on the fold at the center back.
Right.
And so I traced the entire pattern and I cut it along the top of the collar.
Okay.
And added seam allowances, and so that allowed me to piece the collar up and with the contrast fabric.
Exactly.
And that was fairly
you did your French knots,
right,
all around the collar, down the front, and across the bottom of the sleeve.
Right. They were all done while the garment was still flat. So
Yes.
I put everything together, and then I worked the knots in, and then I constructed the garment.
Did you actually just wing this in terms of the distance between the knots, or did you use any sort of template or anything?
No, I just winged it. I was sitting in my chair looking out over the backyard and the garden, and I thought I could mark my nail, like you see so many people do.
Right.
I could have chalked it, But Nancy said something at Cleveland that just really struck me, that it's the rhythm that you get going, and they're not evenly spaced. I'm sure you could find some that are closer
Well,
or
they're
farther
pretty
apart.
darn good, which is why I ask you. Yeah, some people use tiger tape, or there's even a template in the back of the Alabama Channon embroidery book that you can mark dots or whatever. But
Right.
no, and I think that is Nancy Schreiber's philosophy generally is things can't and shouldn't be perfect. They should
Exactly.
just be kind of you. But these are really great. Now, what did you use for the thread?
I used 6 threads, 6-strand, just normal embroidery floss. I tried pearl cotton, and the knot was just too big for what I was trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I can kind of imagine that, and maybe a little bit too heavy to just manipulate easily.
Right. In and out of the fabric was really tough. I also thought about doing multiple color dots, cream or black or brown, and mixing them up. And it detracted from what I was trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm glad you stuck with this. Well, this general idea is from a designer. I'm going to call it Perot, but I don't know if that's the right.
Yeah, she did mention that earlier. Yeah,
Oh, you
Elaine,
did?
you were.
Okay.
We had shown this garment earlier in the live stream. If you've been joining us every week faithfully, you've probably heard us talk about it. This
Okay.
Perot designer that Elaine did mention, all their garments have this kind of design effect to their shirts, specifically coats, shirts. I'm not sure about pants so much, but the French knot thing is kind of strong in their design element.
Yeah, they have a lot of they may not be hand embellishments, but it looks like there's a lot of attention to detail to add pleasing contrasts and surprises here and there.
Yeah.
So that's what I liked about the garment itself.
What I like about this is, while you can see these, they're not so glaring that it takes away from the overall design of the garment. And in fact, some of the garments that you see by this designer at Santa Fe Dry Goods, you have to look at it. It's even been French knotted.
Right.
It's pretty subtle, but this is just right. It's not too little. It's just perfect.
Thank you.
You lengthened or shortened the garment, didn't you say?
I shortened it about 1 inch, but I don't think it was necessary. I think the reason it was shortened was because I had shortened my fractured jacket.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure why I did that, because I can certainly carry the length because I'm fairly tall. So I don't think that's necessary to shorten the garment at all. That's really the only other thing that I did lengthen was the sleeve. In fact, what I did was I took the sleeve fold that's cut on the sleeve and just straightened the sleeve seam down to that and used that as part of my sleeve. And then I cut a sleeve hem facing on the bias that gave me the turn back cuff that I wanted to see.
Right.
Because I envisioned wearing it both long sleeved and turned back.
Right.
As it turns out, I've never worn it as a long sleeve garment. I mean, I live in Houston, so.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you cut the sleeve on the bias, the cuff on the bias, and the collar is this on the bias as well? Or is this just?
No, it isn't. But because of the way it's just cut that way.
Okay. Well, I think that's nice. It took me a minute to really realize you had done that, because this would be pretty difficult to match.
Yeah, when I was cutting it using your plaid matching technique and the dots and the notches and everything, I couldn't find an arrangement that was pleasing. And so the only thing I knew to try was to, cut it on the bias.
Yeah.
And then I was concerned because it's on the sleeve and that it would stretch. So I stabilized it with some line and stitch it in black, which of course you can't see.
Right.
But lacing thread that's there. And kind of an accidental benefit is it slips on really easily with that lining over that part of the sleeve.
Yeah,
so
that's
it works.
One thing about flannel and those kinds of fabrics is in certain places they can be a little sticky.
Yeah, and that worked out really well. It was just kind of an accidental plus To
Right.
calculate the brown in the contrast, I basically held the sleeve pattern up to my arm, and of course I have the fractured jacket that I could sort of estimate where I wanted the contrast to appear. And so I just, kind of approximated that, and I split the sleeve along the grain of the fabric about, it's about 2¼ inches back from the shoulder seam.
Yeah. Here's the shoulder seam, and there's the
Mhm.
beginning of the
Yeah.
solid. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good do that. I think we forget a lot about just putting the darn pattern on our bodies, pinning and testing. It's one thing to have a dress form. That isn't always quite the deal, but putting it on your body is a big deal. You
Yeah,
managed
it
to.
always gives you such a nice, you get a much better representation for how it's going to look. The dress
Yeah.
form, my dress form doesn't have arms, so it just kind of, hangs
Exactly.
there. So,
Well, and you put the major feature of the plaid, even with your seam, you did that. Wow. Can't even see that seam.
I was lucky with that. But
Well, talk a
but
little bit, Elaine, about the fabric consideration. I love that you chose a plaid. I love that you chose a flannel. I love that you live in Houston and you weren't necessarily intimidated by all of those things. So what drew you to this project and specifically this fabric?
Well, I was looking, as I mentioned earlier, for something that was black and brown to kind of mix my pieces together and give me a much more wearable garment. I'd seen a lot of plaid in the current fashion scene. I'm not as current as Samantha, but I do look at some things. And so I thought, well, I'll try the plaid, and I wanted something that had a little bit of body to it. Not a denim shirt, not a cotton, not a rayon, not a whatever. I wanted something that was fairly not quite substantial like a coat, but just a lightweight jacket. But I didn't want it to be what do they call a shacket, a shirt jacket. I wanted to have a little more style to it. So the plaid and the knots and the pattern really brought it all together for the look that I was trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Well, you did that. It's perfect.
Thanks.
If
Thank
it
you.
gets lost in the mail when we send it back to you, gosh, you'll just have to make another one. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Actually, I'm anxious to have it back, but although it's 78 today, so not to worry. I don't need it for a while.
We will absolutely get it back to you. Although it does worry me this time of year to send things, but we're getting it to you. So don't worry.
Yeah.
Elaine,
Well, and the only other alteration I made was I extended the hem. Because I wanted the garment to hang, I needed a little more weight in the bottom. And so I widened the hem and widened the seams in the vent. And then I mitered the seams as
Yes,
at
and
each
they are
corner.
perfect.
Thanks. Again, I used your technique. So it really hangs very nicely. It's just really a wonderful garment to wear.
Yep. Well, I think it could not be more perfect.
Thanks.
I love it. When it first came in, it was hanging on the wall, and I didn't really know that Aaron and Alex had been communicating with you. And I thought, oh, who made that? I was, I'm excited about it. So,
Well, thanks.
Elaine, did you happen to count how many French knots?
I did not, actually.
I wonder how
It's
many.
2 glasses. It's about 3 glasses of wine.
Oh, great.
pretty quick.
Yeah, that is.
I remember making an embroidered skirt, and I lost count at 2,000 knots.
Oh my gosh.
I stopped counting. I thought this is ridiculous.
But it's what we do, right? It's just what we do.
Yeah, but it's a good thing to do on your deck and the porch and the patio and all that.
Exactly.
Wine and yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It was really a very for such a simple stitch. It was so pleasing and so calming to do. I just really enjoyed it.
Every once in a while, I can make a French knot and it just doesn't work. I don't know what I do. I can make 25 and then the 26th is like, what? So I have prepared to maybe take one out. But anyway, I like French knots. So,
well, we're going to watch a quick video on how to make a French knot that we filmed a So Confident video. So take a look. We're going to watch this video, and then Elaine, we might see if anyone has any specific questions for you, and then we'll move along to the rest of our flannel ideas. But let's watch this video and then we'll bring Elaine back in.
Thanks.
Calling these my firework flowers. So at the ends of every firework flower, I've included a French knot. I've also included French knots in the middle of my blanket stitch. Now, let's learn how to make one. I used to live in Paris and I used to know French, and I probably should know the word for French knots, but I don't. I don't even know what the French word for knot is. But you see what I'm actually doing here right now is I'm prepping my thread to sew. So in order to prep my thread to sew, I am going to tie 2 knots, just like how I ended every stitch with 2 knots. I'm going to secure the ends of my thread with 2 knots in order to start stitching. So I'm tying 2 knots right on top of the other in order to get going. Once I do that, I'm ready to go. Again, we're coming up from the bottom, and I'm going to put my needle right where this dot is. I'm going to pull this all the way through, and then I'm going to now take one hand and begin to wrap my thread around my needle. Now, I like a pretty lumpy French knot or a wonky or a bigger French knot, so I like to do 3 or 4 wraps around my needle for a French knot. So here I've done 4. So once I've wrapped it, I'm still holding this thread pretty taut. Still holding it tightly. I'm holding it and then putting my needle back through the fabric, and then I'm pulling it through. And voila, there's a French word for you.
That's pretty good.
Not bad. Not bad.
All right. So what are we doing now?
Well, Elaine, thank you so much for
Let's see if
joining
there's
us
any
again.
questions like this.
We didn't really talk about the closure, so I wanted to mention that. And let me just glance quickly, unless Betsy, if you see any questions specifically for Elaine.
Yeah, you use 3 snaps, pretty big snaps, about maybe 3/4 inch diameter.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't imagine trying to put a buttonhole in it. My old Bernina has decided to protest. So, but I decided that the buttonhole would not really add to, it would take away from what I was trying to accomplish.
I absolutely agree with you. And you've got exactly the right hem turn back for the snap, so it's supported. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I think it works really well.
Just a side note, which may or may not have anything to do with your problem, but sometimes when buttonholes go awry, it's because your machine needs to be calibrated.
I just got it back from the technician and he calibrated it.
Got it. Okay.
But I think I'm going to buy a new one. I think I'm going to buy a new machine.
All right.
Exciting.
How fun.
Yeah.
Well, Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Thanks again, Elaine.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Were there any questions, Betsy, or anything?
We have one question, which is, was there a specific designer who inspired your shacket?
I think it's that Perot.
Yeah.
P-E-R-O,
That's correct.
that has a little whatever over the P, I think. She's in this
Yeah, she's Indian,
Indian.
which I think is interesting. With the name, I always thought it was someone, another nationality.
Exactly.
But apparently she's Indian.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you can look her up on Santa Fe Dry Goods.
Yeah.
Garments on
And
that.
they have a wonderful website. Santa Fe Dry Goods has a great website, and so does the Perot line itself.
Okay, great. Super. All right. Well, you can hang out or you can take off, Elaine, whatever you need to do. I know you need to leave early.
Thanks.
So
Okay.
whatever you need.
You guys have a great holiday, and I'm glad you're at home, Alex.
Oh,
Great
thank
place
you.
to be.
Hopefully you'll be sewing on your new sewing machine on Christmas afternoon.
Yeah, well, this is Christmas. This is Christmas Central up here. So see y'all That's what happens to my sewing table.
Nice.
Nice. Putting it to good use. Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elaine.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right. Well,
Okay, so let's show some other garments. Is that where we
Yeah.
are in
Mhm.
that you can make in flannel? We have some flannels that we're going to show you.
well, let's talk about ours. We are
Oh, yeah.
matching.
We are. We both have on Florence shirts. Why does mine look longer? Because maybe I'm shorter.
You are shorter. Mhm.
But flannel shirts
Mhm.
in the fronts.
And this is exactly what the pattern is.
Right.
These have not been altered or changed.
No. It has this tuck in the bottom. Whoops, out of the picture frame. So that the hem is longer in the back and shorter in the front. What I like about the shirt is that it has every element that you would want in a standard shirt. A collar, a stand, a yoke, a cuff, placket,
Mhm.
band, all that. But if you don't like the length or you don't like these pleats, you can change the hemline
Mhm.
and just make it a regular shirt.
Mhm. And we've actually done that. It's called the Classic Florence online workshop, but that is basically taking the Florence and taking out all of the extra elements and making a pretty much basic shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this pocket too. It has
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
small
that.
little pleats in the pocket. It's just kind of a fun, detailed element.
And it's on the bias, so you don't have to match anything.
So the Florence is a great option for flannel specifically.
Right.
You know, and these are pretty small checks that are going along with the fabric. And we're actually going to watch a video shortly of how to match plaid fabric. So if you are intimidated or if it's just something you don't want to, because Linda has a great technique and great insight in how to do that. So we're going to take a look. This one is the same fabric you are wearing.
Yeah.
But Kathy made this. This is our plaza jacket in this buffalo
This was
plaid.
for that challenge.
Yeah, so if you're a So Confident member, you've probably seen this and we've shown it on a live stream. But I love how she took our challenge fabric and just made an overlay.
Yeah.
So this fabric is really just kind of placed over the fabric. This is, I think, how the plaid, it might be shortened a bit. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But the plaza is just
normal.
basically a giant rectangle with
Mhm.
sleeves or sleeve cuffs, which can be left off or lengthened or, you know, created as a variation. But this is the plaza, and it does have a button closure. So you could, you know, not have a button and just have kind of a nice flattering jacket for over a shirt.
Yep.
This is the E jacket, which we don't talk about this a lot.
I know, and I don't know why, because it's 2 pattern pieces. It could not be easier to make. Has a little drape. It has an optional little tie that comes out of couple of little tucks, I guess I'll call them. Here are these tucks, and I don't know where our belt has gotten to because it certainly has the little buttonholes in here to hold the tie to kind of bring it together if you like that look, which I do basically, kind of like that. But it's so interesting because the shape is formed by this, which is a 2-ended dart. Is that a word? A dart that has dart ends at both ends. So it's, and this is one piece. The back here's a seam, but this is all one piece. So interesting to make. So don't forget about it. It's one of our it was one of our first E patterns, basically.
Mm-hmm. And this underneath is a swing tee.
Yep.
So just a nice solid t-shirt underneath your flannel jacket.
Yep. Then we were talking about robes and pajamas and that. This is a project that we did, I don't know, a year ago or so. But this is the Ikena jacket, lengthened. A band has been added to the bottom. And a belt somewhere that you can wear with it. But, you know, I love robes, but I don't really like the robes I see in the stores for some reason. And I've never thought too much about making one. But to make that in a flannel, that's perfect.
And great patch pockets. You know, you could put your pockets on the bias in a flannel.
Yep. You could do a contrasting band or add a band to the bottom or not. So, yeah. Jan Black made this for us. She did a great job.
And we made a whole kind of loungewear set with this idea. So underneath is the Mix It tank. And then we have, you know, go coordinating and make a pair of Chesney pants to match your tank underneath. And this could be reversed. This could be kind of your take on flannel pajamas. Make a pair of flannel Chesney pants and make a flannel Mix It tank.
I always have to laugh because Nancy Shrike Christmas or Hanukkah holiday gets together with her family, which would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 9 or 10 people. And they all wear flannel pajamas and take the Hanukkah photo. And they're all the same pajamas. I've often wondered if she goes out and buys them all or makes them all, or if they hand them down, because these kids have grown up and probably wear differences. I'll have to ask her one of these days.
I don't know. You walk into, I don't know, Target, there's like a whole flannel pajama section and just any size, grab it. This is kind of has become one of our quintessential plaid garments at the Sewing Workshop. This is the Hudson pants. And we did this a couple years ago with So Confident, and we made a Hudson pant variation where we added this detail to the bottom cuff. We basically created a cuff, a band.
This was Deb's idea, actually. She brought that in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But it's on the bias. Those pieces are overlapping and they're on the bias, so you don't have to match them.
And the Hudson has these great pockets here in the project, and kind of our standard 1-inch elastic waistband treatment.
I hope I'm not misquoting this. That the Hudson pattern does not have a pocket in the pattern. I think that's one of the things we teach you in this class is how to add the West End pocket to the Hudson. Or I hope I'm right about that, but don't quote me. Etsy can probably confirm.
Let's watch a video on Linda using this pants, the Hudson pant, and teaching you how to match plaids.
Let's start by figuring out how to lay out our pattern pieces on a plaid. Well, first of all, you have to get the plaid all settled in on your table. And so you want to cut out single layer. I know you don't want to hear that, but it's true. So this is when I use this long ruler. And I try to get my lines kind of lined up just ahead of time here a little bit as best I can. So you can see I'm just finger pulling this so that that plaid is running along the edge of the ruler, one direction. Then let's try another direction. Give it a little shove here. If you've got a selvage that's really not very attractive or not very even, you might even want to cut it off. Let's try this on one more plaid. Not too bad. There we go. Move it down. This takes some time. I may be doing this sort of quickly, but in real life, you're going to be taking some time to get that all set up just right. So I chose to leave the full pattern piece at the pocket on my front of my Hudson pants, which you may or may not do. You can cut that out. I chose to leave it just in case I ever want to make the pants without a pocket. So we have some notches that are important. And the bottom of the pants are parallel and to the this lengthen and shorten line, which is perpendicular to the straight of grain. So let's put the bottom of the pants on the top of a line of the plaid. Let's just pick that. And then I'm going to make note that this particular notch at the side seam is right on and straddling a line of that plaid. Now I'm also going to see through here. This is why having this pattern in tissue is really nice. I can see through and make sure that it's lined up on a plaid. So I know I have a dark line running with the straight of grain. I'm perpendicular at my hem, and I've made note of where that notch is. So now all I have to do is just weight it down or pin it and cut it out. Now, the next piece to cut out would be your pocket. There's a notch on this curve, and that is just a little bit below one of these dark lines. So when I'm cutting out my pocket, I want to make sure that that notch is in the same place. And I also want to be sure that the top of this pocket is level along a line. Now, I make that look easy because I'm setting them side by side, which is probably not going to happen in a true layout. But just note that I want to make sure that those notches line up. And then I know that when I assemble the pocket, my plaid lines are going to run through the pocket opening and match up with the side seam. Now I want to show you how to sew the plaids at all of the seams. I'm going to be working on a little sample, but this is how you will do all of your seams, side seams, inseam, crotch seam, everything on these pants. So I start with the fabric right side up, one side, and I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to chalk mark a seam allowance, 5/8 of an inch from the edge. That's why I like this clear gridded ruler. I can see my 5/8 inch. And then within that seam allowance, I'm going to apply fusee web right next to that line. This fusee web has a paper covering, so once I remove the paper, then I have this little line of glue. So now I'm going to put the corresponding piece on it, right sides together. And this is where these flexible pins come in really handy. But I'm going to put a pin through the ends of these lines. Just pick a point that is a good reference point for you on your plaid. You can see that pin's coming through and I'm sticking it into the chalk line. I'm going to do this at every plaid intersection. I know this seems like a lot, but you are going to be glad you did it when it's all said and done. And it's nice to work on a padded board so that you can stick these pins into your ironing surface. This is why I like these pins. I can iron over them. They have glass heads on them, you can't melt them, and they will bend as I put the iron to them. So once I have fused the two edges together, maybe you want to check one and make sure that you've got it in the right spot. I would sew this at 5/8 of an inch. And then with my 3-thread serger, I would finish that edge nicely and then press the seam one direction, always towards the back. And you press that on the right side of the fabric so that you don't get a little tunnel next to the seam. And you can see that those plaids are matched really perfectly. So let's go on to the next lesson.
Pretty nice.
I rarely watch myself. Okay.
Yeah, you were tuning in very intensely.
I know. I was
Making
like,
sure there
"Oh,
were-
I didn't know I
Making
did
sure
that."
there were no errors.
I only heard one error. Wasn't bad. Okay. Well,
Do we have any questions
Any
before we
questions so
talk about
far?
fabric?
We do. Let's see. Let me start back up here. What kind of seam finish do you recommend for flannel? Does it shred like linen?
it doesn't shred like linens. It shreds more like cotton, but boy, not much. So My standard seam is a 5/8 inch seam sewn and then a 3-thread stitch formation on my serger. I use isocord thread for my serging because it's very lightweight, so you don't get a lot of show through, press it. And that's my standard seam finish, and that's what I think I would do on flannel. Let me look and see what I did on this. Yep, that's what I did.
Perfect. We have someone who is going to make a flannel shirt dress, and she wants to know your lining recommendation.
The standard lining is Bemberg rayon, which we carry in a lot of colors. That's kind of the gold standard of lining. But you could use China silk. You could use a polyester, I suppose. It kind of depends on what color and type you're looking for. I wouldn't add much. I mean, Bemberg rayon is the heaviest I would go. You could probably use batiste, handkerchief linen, but really you want it something a little slicker than those, and that puts you in the silk category.
Okay. How long is the metal ruler that you used in the video? It looks like it's longer than 36 inches.
It is. I think it's like 42 or 48. Not sure. I'd have to look. But I know it's longer than 36.
Okay. And there has been a bevy of questions about your padded board. Do you know if those are available anywhere?
Yes, they are. I'm just looking for the one that we use. I found mine on eBay, but I don't think you have to go through eBay. I think you could Google it. They come with different designs on them. I don't care about the designs. I'm just interested in the padded aspect of it.
If you couldn't find one, could you just get a board and cover it with batting and muslin?
Yes, you could do some. Yes, absolutely. Cut a board of any size that you want. Although I do like the lines.
Yeah.
You could get an ironing board cover that has lines on it. Canvas. You want canvas, not that metal stuff, metallic stuff. In the quilting world, so you might check with your quilt store, local quilt store, because they have different designs on them that where you do different piecing of quilting and all of that. But yes, you're right, Betsy. You would get a board, get some. I would get wool batting, I guess you would call it, or maybe an old wool blanket. Cover that. Cover it with a couple of layers of flannel. Could be plaid.
You do generally like to do that to your ironing boards. So
I do.
You make your own.
I do make my own, yeah.
Someone says she has one made by June Taylor.
Yes, but they're no longer making them.
Okay.
Don't think. I might be proven wrong, but I don't think so. Because I had one from June Taylor as well. And really scruffy, and I use it, but not on camera. And so I got another one that has some kind of circular design on it that means nothing to me. I didn't get it on eBay.
All right. Well, if you want a certain size, you guys, that's a good DIY project. Just get a staple gun and some things.
Yeah, it would be nice to have one bigger actually than the ones they make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ours doesn't have a name on it or anything, does it? If so, we'll
sit and see if you can see ours real quick. It's tucked back in the back. We're going to try to dig ours out, and we'll get back to you right quickly.
Okay. In the meantime, what would you suggest to interface the collar?
Oh, well, we only carry one interfacing, and we've only carried one kind of interfacing for 25 years. And it's ultra sheer Japanese fusible interfacing, and absolutely that's what I would use. And most collars are interfaced, maybe the undercollar only, but I tend to do both. Well, Alex, come take my place and I'll come look for it. I think I know where it is.
We clean the office. We put things away too well.
I know. I got in the closet one day. Of course, Bessie, you haven't seen it lately.
Oh, all that
Yeah,
work.
Anything else?
I think that's it. We had a lot of great compliments on Elaine's jacket.
Yeah, no, such a great shirt.
And
Shirt jacket.
shacket. And I can say that it's even better in person. It's one of those garments that was on the wall, and I think everyone went by and was like, "Ooh, can I have that?"
So great.
Yeah. But that's about it. Just a lot of talk about padded boards, so we'll try to figure that out for you.
Well, yeah, let's show off some of these fabrics. So on this side here we have sort of the traditional cotton flannel plaid for your Florence shirts, for your Londons. And so these have the great flannel texture, the great weight of the, the London or the Florences, London are wearing. So up here we have the color called Sunset plaid. So
Pin weave board.
some nice dark oranges with some lighter oranges and a cream base. Then here is blue and black plaid. So not quite as bright as Linda's.
Yes.
It's more of like a navy. So you kind of have and they're slightly larger checks, slightly larger squares. The plaid is a bit smaller scale on our shirts, so a bit larger here. This one is burgundy and blue there's some black kind of lines in here that are featured along with the blue, so you sort of see the different color in there as well. And we have a beige plaid. So that's this one here at the bottom. So you have some kind of white with a cream and a bit of a darker taupe color. I can pull this one out as well so you can see the contrast a little bit better. But they're very soft.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not, I don't know how much they are. I don't think they're terribly expensive. $14 a yard. See, you can make a shirt for $35. I'm not sure you can buy one for that.
Yeah, true. And then these over here are kind of mixed in, but this is a floral cotton flannel. We call it autumnal floral, autumn floral. So you've got some nice bright pinks, deeper oranges, some kind of mustard yellows, a little bit of like gray blue in here with the leaves also. Here is a burgundy bouquet. Some nice, it's just some nice, like a great red. Not really like a Christmas red, but nice kind of pink red. Here, that is Midnight Garden. And these are all 100% cotton. They're a bit narrower, 45 inches wide. And, considering the underside of the fabrics, if you're making something where you see the opposite side, it's something to consider if you're lining or lining.
Unlike these, the same on both sides. So these are woven, these are printed.
And then the next three here are not your kind of typical flannels. They're sort of different fabric contents to these. This is a wool crepe. This is floral waves. So this would be something for like the Hudson pants, the Chesney pants, be a nice pant fabric. It would be, it'd be a nice shirt too. But I sort of imagined these with at least these two with, as a pant weight.
When Erin pulled these, she had Elaine's jacket in mind. If you wanted the contrast, this is a beautiful merino wool that does have the blue in it, which I'm sure you can't pick up. But the taupe and the blue, it's really beautiful.
These two go really well together.
Or this could be top pants.
And this is just, 100% wool here. And down here is a silk linen, black and cream check.
Yeah, this is a great weight.
Mm-hmm.
The silk in it gives it the drape that, and it's got a lot of body to it, but it still has a light drape to it, and it doesn't look heavy at all.
Yeah. Those are our fabrics.
Those are our fabrics
for the week. Let's pull this in so you guys can keep looking at it. Any questions, Betsy?
Let me see. I was gonna say too, just in the idea of Elaine's jacket where she has two coordinating fabrics. You know, we got the flannels with the idea that you could coordinate the plaid with the floral. So I think that would be really fun to do in a project.
Yeah, look at these two together.
Yeah. And then that creamy plaid looks really beautiful with that dark floral at the bottom. So, you know, mix and match.
Oh, yeah. That's gorgeous.
Even this kind of goes with
all of them, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one with the red is fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the black and white goes with anything.
Yep.
Right. But yeah, so think about, you know, maybe adding in a couple fabrics for your tops. Let's see, we have some links and more discussion on padded boards, and it looks like you've got yours there, Linda. So what do you have?
So the first one I had, and the one that I use the most, is by June Taylor, called a Pin Weave. Pin Weave Express. And this is the one I like because it's the simplest. I'm pretty sure, and Deb's trying to look this up right now. We may have an answer before this is over. I don't think you can get this one anymore. But if you can find one, which I did on eBay, then you're set. The other one I have is a little smaller, has two different designs on it, which I don't use, but it does have the grid. And this is called Heirloom Stitchers Shape and Press. And it's also by June Taylor. So I don't know. I think you just have to poke around. Deb, any news? She can't find it through regular distributors who buy things. So I think it is a matter of
Finding it.
Yeah.
We have one link that someone posted that looks like there's a June Taylor on Amazon, and a couple other people found maybe a different brand at Joann. So
I don't think it matters the brand.
No, yeah.
So just so it's padded and has a grid.
How big is your Pinweave Express?
That one is, it's the bigger of the two, and I'm gonna have to, it's the grid part is actually 16 by 33. So the board's a tiny bit bigger than that.
And you like that size?
I do like it best, but it doesn't matter which one I use because I don't use I only use the grid. This one, the grid is a little bit smaller. I like that. The one on the other one is a bigger grid. It's an inch. Doesn't really matter.
Okay. Well, you guys, you're just gonna have to look around. If you can't find anything, I guess we'll just have to start making them. We'll go into padded board production.
We'll be doing that every night.
And just as a reminder, Elaine's jacket is a London shirt pattern.
Hey, Betsy, Alex just said those flannels would be great to make. Never thought about that. I put a flannel on the top of a padded thing, and you have your grid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's true. You know, I use flannel when I'm working with silk. I lay it on my cutting table just to keep everything in where it's supposed to be. So
that's exactly,
yeah,
professionals do. And you're
I've been trained from the best.
Yes.
Okay, so Elaine's jacket is a London shirt pattern, someone asked. Alex, can you turn around and show the back feature on the Florence? So this button feature in the back is in the pattern. So that's where you'll find information on that.
Yeah, there are a lot of
And-
buttons. And the back buttons don't function. It's not like I can unbutton my back as well.
Right, it's decorative.
Yeah.
Someone noted that she finds that flannel shrinks whenever she washes and dries it. We have not washed or tested this flannel. So if you're worried, get a little bit extra. But as we always say, cut a 4-inch square, wash it like you want to wash it, and see what happens before you.
I did wash and dry this before I came to Kansas and before I wore it. And I was kind of worried because I don't normally wash and dry my clothes, on high dry heat. So it did not shrink for me. So that was this, but this is, a different.
It's hard to say. Cotton, of course, can shrink, but not every cotton. So again, you have to test.
Okay. Well, in terms of questions, that's all we've got.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we have a couple more things to show you, so just stick around here with us. We have a fun little box here. This is sort of our Christmas holiday box. If you purchase any of these things that are actually on the sale this week, they wouldn't arrive in time for Christmas, but if you just need some extra little knicky-knack wonderful things to consider for the holidays, this is our little box of goodies. So we wanted to include in the sale this week some of our favorite hand sewing things. So we have, of course, hand sewing needles. So these are, Linda and I really have been down the rabbit hole of finding the best hand sewing things, starting with our Alabama Shannon era and all of that and everything in between. So we have our favorite hand sewing needles. Those are in the sale this week. We also have the Merchant and Mills hand sewing booklet. So this is just really fun. It keeps all of your needles in these pages. It comes with a little mini set of scissors and then a packet of Merchant and Mills needles, which are also very lovely as well.
I keep this in the basket of handwork and use it all the time and travel with it and everything.
And then these are our absolute favorite, cutest little scissors. So these are our gold rooster scissors. And they're just, again, these fit in the Merchant and Mills little booklet also. They're small enough, so I stick these in there as well. So those are a few hand sewing things for, if you want to make a Florence or a London with French knots, grab some hand sewing things, and that's part of the sale. And then these are our new favorite pattern weights. They're so fun. They're just, cool. We sell pattern weights. We're big fans and advocates of pattern weights in general. And we found these, and they're of course weighted, floral, kind of maybe.
They look like paper weights.
Yeah.
But they're as flat.
Yeah.
And they have a K facet flower on them.
Yes. Oh.
Yes, they are branded K facet.
Yeah.
Cool. You can get me for Christmas.
I know, that's what I was going to say too. And then this is fun. If you're a fan of, going to events, or even if you're sewing at home, this is a pin bracelet, like a little kind of slap bracelet. Back in the day, you can kind of slap it on your wrist and it collapses around your wrist. So this will collapse around your wrist, and then this is a magnetic pin holder for just quick access to pins. So it's just a really fun yellow band with a blue.
We have several colors.
But
I don't know that we specify that. I don't know. Don't ask me.
We do not specify colors.
Okay.
So you get what you get.
Yeah.
So those are our little. Yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Those are our little goodie gifts for beyond Christmas. So again, those wouldn't come in time for.
Well, they could. You'd have to pay extra.
Anyway,
So we're showing you these things because we are actually taking a little holiday break as the Sewing Workshop team for our live streams. So due to the holiday school, Christmas and New Year fall on a Tuesday, or Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So our office will be closed Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, as well as New Year's Eve and even New Year's Day. So you will not be seeing us live on our live stream next Tuesday or the week after. So the next time you'll see us actually live is in January in 2025. So
that's right.
we will not be joining you next week or the week after. But as a reminder, don't forget to join So Confident 2025. So yeah, don't forget, because the price changes starting in January, specifically January 3rd. So
Right.
you can join to become a yearly member. You can join to become a monthly member. We also have a membership called Season 1, which is the first 4 projects of 2025. And we also have an add-on called the Pattern Club. Now, this Pattern Club is new, and we're really excited about it. It's just basically a bonus for you guys. It's an opportunity to get the first 4 patterns for 25% off when they release. So if you purchase the Pattern Club, when those pins are available, they're uploaded into your account, and then you can print them through us when they're made available. But basically, you can purchase the patterns now, and when they're out, you'll get them.
That's right.
So that's
All
all
right.
I have to say.
Well, I want to thank Elaine for sending us the garment, coming on today. She's great. Wonderful person. We enjoy having her either live or not live. So thank you very much, Elaine. We appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
And shall we repeat what's on sale?
Sure.
The fabrics, flannel fabrics, and the 3 non-flannel. The London shirt, the E-jacket, the Akina jacket, and the Florence. And then Betsy, can you tell us the tutorials that are on sale? I never know the names exactly.
I was not given any tutorials to put on sale.
Let's see. We'll pants tutorial and the Crane Street t-shirt that has the embroidery stitches.
All right. Well, those will be on sale in 2 shakes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope all of you have a wonderful holiday, however you're celebrating it. And we just really look forward to starting a new year with you. 2025, we'll be back same time, same place. And of course, we'll be starting with our So Confident program, which we're very excited about this year. So thank you so much for joining us for the entire year. And we'll see you this year.
Thanks, everyone. See you in 2025. And thanks, Betsy.